so welcome to my allotment. Today I'm going to be talking about the jobs you can do in September, and indeed the jobs I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is take a little bit of a walk around the allotment and show you the things that I'm doing at the moment. It is a very different month to August because there's a lot of different jobs that I'm doing that I wouldn't have been doing last month. If you've not already subscribed to my YouTube channel, if you could please do so, because you'll get lots of helpful hints and tips all throughout the year from my home garden, my allotment and also my home kitchen. Now, we'll talk about fruit first, as we're in the top part of the allotment. It's where most of my fruit is. It's really important that when fruit is ripe, that you get it picked off. So even though you might not class that as a job like weeding, it is still a job to do, because if you don't get it off, it will ruin, or pests will get to it. The more ripe it gets, the more likely birds, wasps and other insects are going to attack the fruit once it's ready to eat. It's often a good sign when they start to nibble at things. You know it's probably perfect then, and to get it off quick. So I'm keeping an eye. If you've got plum trees in particular, you really need to get them off, otherwise the wasps will have them. And also we had quite windy rain yesterday, and when I came up here, some of my pears had dropped to the ground. There was nothing wrong with them, there were no marks on them, but it shows that they're probably ready to come off now, because if they're going to get knocked off quite so easily, I need to be getting those off and get them stored. As we move down, we've got blackberries here. Again, we're getting towards the tail end of the blackberries, but you know, I need to be getting the last of these off, otherwise they will just perish, or the birds will get them. So the very young glamorous job of weeding, I will need to be getting on with weeding generally on my patch, but in particular I do need to be doing my leeks. That's something I do need to do. So there are obviously things you could sow at the moment, which I won't go into in huge detail, but there are some things you could be sowing now, and we will pop a link here for you to take a look of what you can sow now if you've got a little bit of space. I shall be sowing a couple of bits. I haven't got that much space, but there are a few things that I would quite like to start off this month, and if you would like to do so, then please do take a look at the video. So like I say, genuinely keeping an eye on pests and things is quite crucial at the moment. Obviously watering if something needs to be watered. We were really lucky, absolutely tipped it down last night, so I haven't got a water day, which is absolutely fantastic. Obviously picking any crops that are ready, like my beetroot. You can be picking all your crops and making sure you're keeping track of that. Now, one of the things in particular that you do need to be doing a little bit of work on, and different to what you would have been doing, are things like your squashes and your courgettes. For your squashes, you're trying to promote more fruit so they last through to the frost. It's a common misconception when they start to look a little bit tired that that's it and you're not going to get any more. And with your squashes, you need to be defoliating so the squashes that you've got are getting the sunlight so that they ripen. Again, there is a link to go into it in more detail. I don't want to go over it too much here because this is just a general jobs, but do take a look at that video if your courgettes are looking a little bit tired, or you know, you're worried about your squashes not ripening. It is really important that you do get your squashes ripening, because they will taste better and they will store better as well. So as we move over, we've got beans. Again, something you really must keep on top of is picking off any beans. They really do sometimes grow quite quickly, and when the beans start to swell out, they're then no good to eat. So you need to be picking those off regularly, otherwise the pods will swell out, and then all the pods that come off of this will be swollen out and they won't be as nice to eat. And you know, you can be getting these for quite a few fair months now. I was talking to a friend the other day and she went, oh, the beans must be over now, I've got loads. I'm like, no, you keep picking them off, and you'll get loads more that you can pop in your freezer to take you over the winter or to share with friends. So do regularly pick those beans. So I'm just going to walk around. So if we can take a quick look at the courgettes, like I say, with courgettes you're defoliating them to get more courgettes. They were looking really tired, and I defoliated, and now I've got some lovely new shoots here, and I won't get the amount I was getting earlier in the year, but I will still get some courgettes because I've got little ones forming, and this will just aid them if you defoliate them in the appropriate ways. Like I say, watch that video because it does go into a lot more detail. Defoliation is a little bit of the name of the game this month, actually, while I think about it. You know, again, if you've got any tired leaves around your squash, around your chard, you know, remove those. I'm not going to go inside my fruit cage because it's a bit of a faff to get in there, but I've noticed the whitefly rearing its ugly head with that, even though I've got it covered, and with my kale I've got that covered. You're going to get a little bit, unfortunately. It sneaks in, which is a shame. And right up until this point, I haven't really had that much, but it is actually quite usual. Despite your best efforts with covering it, I have my EnviroMesh on there for them to start to sneak in towards the end of the season. So don't think, oh, disaster, calamity, I've failed. You've actually done really well staving them off this long. And I've been defoliating these, and the reason I do that is because if you actually pick them really, really regularly on your kale, the whitefly finds it hard to take hold. Now, I've been away for a few weeks, so I've not been on top of it as much as I normally am. And even if I was, I probably wouldn't be on top of it that much, if I'm honest with you. So what I've done is I've taken all the lower leaves off, and that disperses them. Now, you can either just spray it with a hose to displace them, or you could spray them with some kind of pest control. You know, like I say, sometimes you have to do it, and then the rest of your crop will be okay. You can choose whether you use something that's a little bit better for the environment, or some people just put a little bit of washing up liquid into a squirty bottle. It's up to you, but either way, you've got to do something to calm it down. Just doing what I've done, removing the bottom leaves, and if you just sprayed it with a bit of water, that would displace them, but you'd have to constantly do that. So it's really up to you what to do, but there are options to help do that. I will cover this back up, but I just wanted to show you what I've done. I realise that job does look really barbaric, that I've like ripped all these leaves off and I'm going to waste them, but you will get loads more growth coming through right through to the spring. Here's my great big pile of leaves here. So what I will do is I will go through the ones that don't look quite so bad, and I will eat the ones that don't look too bad. I will give some to the chickens, and the rest will go on the composter, and I will obviously cover that back up. The same thing with the brassicas in there. I obviously won't be quite so barbaric with the leaves, but it's purple sprouting and it's Brussels in there, so it's perfectly okay for me to take away some of the lower leaves to get rid of some of the worst of the whitefly, and then I probably will give them a little bit of a spray with something. But if I do that, hopefully that's all I will need to do, and it will help me to have some fantastic Brussels and some awesome purple sprouting. Now, there's other jobs you can be doing, and these are jobs that I'm doing at home at the moment. Again, it's more defoliation. You know, like I said, defoliation is the name of the game in September. And my tomatoes, I've been defoliating those. So again, if you don't defoliate in the right way, it encourages your tomatoes to ripen much quicker. And again, without me waffling on about it, it's well worth watching that video if your tomatoes aren't ripening. It also encourages ripening and less likely to get disease and pests as well. So it's well worth watching this video so you can do it properly, so you get some really wonderful good crop of tomatoes. I'm getting bumperful amounts, and I'm making lots and lots of lovely passata. So if you don't know what to do with your tomatoes, if you're sick of having them in salads, again, another fantastic video which is definitely well worth watching. The passata recipe is an absolute staple in our household. We make it, we freeze it, and we use it right through the winter through to the spring. So I do hope that those are some jobs. Oh, and of course you can be sowing some more seeds as well. And if you're stuck for ideas, guess what? I've got a video on that too. There are still some things you can sow on that too. Now, if you've enjoyed my video, please like and subscribe, and also give us a comment. Tell us what you're up to or anything you're struggling with at the moment. And the more you like, comment and share, the more fantastic people get to grow their own produce and get to see my amazing videos.